Hello Bradford City fans, just a quick update video after the return list was released this afternoon. They've done it quite quickly after the weekend and going out the playoffs to Bolton. I wasn't expecting it so quickly, but Simon Parker did say in the tin air this morning that it was imminent. There's been 7 players released: Neil Byrne, Lee Evans, Andy Cook, Kieran Kelly, Joe Hilton, George Goodman and Clark Adore. I don't think there's any real surprises there. As we know, a couple of those were already out on loan. Lee Evans was brought in January on a short-term deal. He's obviously not impressed enough to earn a full-term or a longer-term contract. He wasn't even in the squad for the last few games of the season, including the playoffs, which was quite noticeable. Obviously, the big one is Andy Cook. Obviously, absolute Bradford City legend, but I believe the writing was on the wall in January when he was sent out on loan to Grimsby. Obviously, we discussed that in depth then, so it's no surprise to see him be released permanently now at the end of the season. Proper legend though, and goes with everybody's best wishes. Everyone loves Andy Cook at Bradford City. Kieran Kelly, the only one that's featured semi-regularly this season, but was well down the pecking order, so not really surprised to see him released. Obviously, Joe Hilton's gone, so there was probably going to be the case that we're going to be looking to bring in another goalkeeper. Now, whether that'll be a first choice to replace Sam Walker or a backup to Sam Walker remains to be seen. 3 players have had the contracts extended. That's Aidan Baldwin, Tariq Wright and Anthony Sarcevic. I think they're the 3 that were coming up to being out of contract who most City fans would have said they wanted to keep. And it's good planning from the club because we haven't had to go into negotiations with any of those 3 players because they've all had clauses activated in the contracts to extend them by a further year. Tariq Wright and Aidan Baldwin were decisions by the club. The decision was in the club's hands, and we've extended those contracts by a year, presumably on the same terms as they were on before. And Anthony Sarcevic activated a clause in his own contract whereby he's played enough games to activate another year on his contract at City. So those are the 3 that everyone probably wanted to keep, and those are the 3 that will definitely be staying, and we don't need to enter into negotiations with them just yet unless we want to extend the contracts even further or improve the terms. So that's really good planning by the club. Interesting that Nick Powell is listed as being in negotiations with the club about a new contract, so quite surprising in some ways given his injury record and the fact that he was on a short-term deal. We never actually found out how long his initial contract was with City, so the fact that he's now in negotiations about a new one leads you to maybe think that it was until the end of the season. But he has featured quite a lot towards the end of the season. He's come on playing down the middle of the front 3 and held the ball up quite well and won his fair share in the air, shown his quality. So in that respect, it's not a surprise to see us possibly wanting to keep him. It'll be interesting to see if we can agree a deal there, what sort of terms he'll want, what we'll be willing to offer. He has the quality. If we can keep him fit like we did towards the end of the season, bringing him on for cameo roles, it could be an astute bit of business to keep him. The 3 players, everyone else is under contract. Obviously the loans have gone back to the parent clubs, but everyone else is under contract at City. The 3 players that are under contract that you could suggest might have question marks over the future are Tommy Lee, George Lapsley and Stephen Humphreys. Now, Tommy Lee's been out on loan at Bristol Rovers. He's got another year left on his contract. It'll be interesting to see if we try to move him on. A few City fans probably feel we should be trying to move him on. Now, whether we can do that or not, I don't know. George Lapsley would have been another one that you would have thought a few weeks ago you'd have said, yeah, probably try and move him on as well. But he's got another year on his contract, and he's come in and played reasonably well in the playoffs and forced his way back into the reckoning. Never lets anyone down. Great attitude, proper grafter. So might be the case that we don't try and move him on now and we keep him. He's probably got a role to play in the squad, depending on who we bring in over the summer next year. So he's done himself the world of good, really, and he's impressed supporters. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't try and move him on and we try and keep him. And then the other one is Stephen Humphreys, who obviously came in with a huge reputation. There's been the whole debate about whether he should be playing on the left or down the middle. He's played mainly down the middle. We have tried him on the left a little bit. Some City fans not happy with him at all, don't think he works hard enough and has the right attitude. He'll be on big money as well, and he's lost his place in the starting lineup towards the end of the season. I would expect us as well to be targeting a new number 9 over the summer, so that will push him even further down the pecking order. So it'll be interesting to see if we try to move him on over the summer. They're the 3 that probably got question marks over them who are under contract, and we might have question marks over them this summer. It remains to be seen. But overall, I'm really happy with the return list. I think we've kept the players we wanted to keep. We've released the ones we wanted to let go. And it gives us a squad, I think, of about 19, 20 moving into next season, which gives us plenty of scope to bring some more players in, whether they may be permanents or on loans. So yeah, we're in a good place, I think, squad-wise, and hopefully we can push on over the summer and make some really good signings to bolster us ahead of next year, and hopefully another playoff push at the least, or maybe a little bit more. Onwards and upwards with the West Yorkshire Football Show.